In today's episode of Homestead How, come along with us to shop at Aldi in 2022. We'll show you the latest Aldi deals and what you should buy. Then we'll show you a ton of delicious and frugal meal ideas made by our family from Aldi, including breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's get started. Our goal with this video is to give you some frugal meal ideas using some staple items from Aldi's. Give you some inspiration. This is not going to be recipes, and we're going to go through these really quick so we can give you a ton of really good ideas. A lot of these aren't very healthy either. I also eat a lot of keto, so I'll use keto bread or tortillas, or I'll just skip the bread altogether. Now let's jump right in. The first thing we always do is buy flour and yeast, and we start to make everything from scratch. Of course, you can skip this step and still be frugal by purchasing your bread and tortillas, but if you really want to save a lot of money from Aldi's, consider purchasing some flour and yeast like we do. Usually on a Sunday, Jen will do all of our frugal baking for the week using the flour and yeast purchased at Aldi's. She'll make bread, buns, pizza dough, noodles, breadsticks, cinnamon rolls, English muffins, and a lot more. From there, we have a ton of options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but let's start out with breakfast. And remember, you can always skip ahead in this video because I have chapters and timestamps for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and all of the 30 frugal meal ideas we'll be sharing with you. So we'll cut up some of Jen's homemade bread, and again, you could purchase the bread from Aldi's. It's still really inexpensive and you'll save a lot of money. And we'll use some of our Aldi's eggs and we'll make some homemade French toast. This is a simple meal, and on the homestead, oftentimes we'll use farm fresh eggs, but in a pinch we'll grab some from Aldi's as well. And we like to sprinkle a little powdered sugar over the top of the French toast. Definitely not a keto approved breakfast, but it's still a pretty darn good one. So we did this recipe late last year. I do have to update some of our pricing, but most of our meals will come in between $2 and $3 for the entire meal, feeding 6 people in total. So pretty darn frugal. Next up, we have one of our Homestead favorite breakfasts, cinnamon buns. They're easy to make, super filling, and everyone loves them. And they taste so much better because they're homemade. We have a whole recipe, and we did another video on these cinnamon buns, so be sure to check the description for those. The total cost for these cinnamon buns, just under $3 for a family of 6, and that was with a lot of leftovers. Eggs are a great frugal go-to. We usually use our farm fresh eggs from the homestead, but in a pinch, all these eggs are super cheap and they get the job done. With the flour, our daughter Alyssa is in charge of making flour tortillas. These are really inexpensive, easy to make, and we use them for all sorts of meals, including breakfast. Another breakfast go-to on the homestead are egg roll-ups, breakfast burritos, or breakfast tacos, and they're all 3 easy using the homemade tortillas Alyssa made. We also enjoy having eggs in a basket using the homemade bread and eggs. The total cost for this meal, breakfast tacos, just a little over $2. We also enjoy some Aldi brown and serve sausages, and we'll make a homemade omelet or eggs anyway with toast with Jen's homemade bread. And like the others, this meal usually comes out to around $2 or so for our family of 6. For breakfast sides, we usually go with homemade hash browns or fried potatoes, and the potatoes at Aldi's are really inexpensive, and a big bag goes a long way. Another great breakfast item is Jen's Homestyle quiche. We'll throw in some brown and serve sausages, eggs, maybe some broccoli or spinach or kale depending on what we have. Sometimes we'll even put some feta in there if it's on sale, and Jen will make a quiche in the oven. And this is a favorite meal on the homestead. It's really good too because she'll make up a huge batch and then we can refrigerate it and pop it in the microwave the next day and warm it up really quickly. Great for leftovers. The total cost on this meal for a family of 6 is $3.19. Probably more, around $3.50 or so if you add in some feta or some additional vegetables. Who doesn't love pancakes? And they sure are cheap at Aldi's. The pancake mix is one of the cheapest dollar per calorie items you can purchase. If you're really trying to be frugal, look at how many calories per dollar you can get for your food. Pancake mix is right up there. And the syrup at Aldi is also quite good. Alright, let's top this breakfast section off with a bang. This is one of our favorite meals. It's an egg, sausage, and cheese on one of Jen's homemade English muffins. Of course, you can buy the English muffins from Aldi's and still save a bunch of money. These are kind of like Macdonald's, only a lot more delicious, less expensive, and more filling. We love these, and it's one of our favorite Homestead breakfasts. Before we jump on to our Homestead lunches and dinners, please leave a comment down below. I'm curious, what are some of your favorite frugal breakfast ideas? Now let's discuss lunch. Our family isn't big on deli lunch meat, so we have some frugal alternatives. But of course, you can always make a ham or turkey sandwich with the lunch meat from Aldi's. Our go-to Homestead lunch is egg salad sandwiches. You can make the bread homemade, or of course, buy it yourself from Aldi's. Cut up your eggs and mix with some mayo and some celery and maybe some mustard. We like this sandwich because it's high protein and our family loves eggs. Another frugal lunch idea, tuna sandwiches. These are also nice because tuna will last for a very long time in a can, whereas deli lunch meat can go bad pretty quickly. One final frugal sandwich everyone loves, grilled cheese. Our kids usually opt for a plain old grilled cheese, and it is killer if it's made on some of Jen's homemade bread with a side of tomato soup. I'll often have a tuna melt instead of the grilled cheese. Next up for a great lunch on a cold winter's day, a warm bowl of soup. This is our rip-off version of Olive Garden's Zupa soup. We love to cook it up in our Instant Pot. The ingredients are inexpensive. We purchase the pork, we put some onions and some garlic and some broth in, as well as a little bit of cream, and this yields a lot of food for several days worth of meals to come. Great for leftovers. We love our chili on the Homestead. We make it more frugal by using ground turkey instead of ground beef. It tastes just as good, especially if you use the proper spices. We'll also use leftover meats. For example, if we have some leftover brats, we'll add that into the chili. A great little filler my dad used to add is cut up potatoes, which makes it a much more hearty soup. Let's jump into some frugal dinner ideas, but first, please leave a comment down below with some of your favorite lunches. One of our favorite frugal dinners is spaghetti with meatballs or meat sauce, along with homemade garlic bread or breadsticks. Usually we'll make the meatballs from scratch, or sometimes we'll buy them from Aldi's. Oftentimes we'll make too much, and then we'll have meatballs left over for meatball subs for another meal. Shepherd's pie is a really frugal and hearty meal, one of our favorites on our homestead. Instead of using ground beef, we'll save some money and use the ground turkey instead. And if you're in a real hurry, Aldi also sells dehydrated, pre-seasoned garlic mashed potatoes, which makes a fast and cheap topping if you don't have the time to make mashed potatoes from scratch. Who doesn't love tacos? We'll use our homemade tortillas, or we'll buy them pre-made, and sometimes we'll use ground turkey instead of ground beef. Here I am making some tacos for myself when I kayaked out to a desert island, cooking these over a fire. A lot of times we'll use a cast iron skillet and cook them right on the homestead. We'll also pick up some tortilla chips from Aldi's, and their salsa is really good and inexpensive. For sides, rice and beans are usually the go-to. Another great buy from Aldi is purchasing a whole chicken and then spread it out for several meals. It can result in a few meals including chicken with rice, chicken sandwiches, chicken chili, chicken tacos with rice and beans, chicken enchiladas, and then we'll make a broth or stock with what's left of the bones and use it for homemade chicken noodle soup or chicken and dumpling soup. We've also made homemade egg noodles for our soups. Chicken can really go a long way. If the chicken is on sale, buy some and freeze it. Next up, Jen makes up some smash burgers with some ground beef from Aldi's, her homemade hamburger buns, and a side of fried potatoes. Now we just need to add some toppings, some cheese, tomatoes, ketchup, mustard, and we've got an excellent Homestead meal on the cheap. Mix up those ingredients a little bit and you have another frugal favorite, Sloppy Joe's. When lettuce is not in season on our garden, we'll purchase it from Aldi's, and we'll often have a salad with almost every dinner. Another family favorite is making some homemade burritos and then deep frying them into chimichangas. Grab some cream of mushroom soup and some peas and the other ingredients from before and you have an excellent tuna casserole. Believe it or not, that was 30 frugal meal ideas using items from Aldi's. I hope that inspired you and gave you some ideas, and please, please, please leave a comment. Tell us what your frugal meals are and let us know if you'd like to see more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Here are some of our favorite photographs we took on and around our homestead this week.